Well, and again, everyone, welcome to our session today for admissions. I'm joined here today by Megan, who is a student staff here, and she's going to help us with the session today. Plan for today is for about 15 to 20 minutes of me chatting about all things admissions and the process, where we are in the cycle, and then we will, of course, be giving you guys the opportunity to ask some questions if you do have them. Would definitely encourage everyone to put their questions in the chat, and Megan will either answer those directly, or if there's some more broader questions that come up that aren't covered in the presentation, I'll be able to answer those at the end. Do want to let everyone know that we do have many sessions going on today. So if you have specific programs or questions about programs you're considering applying to or have applied to, we encourage you to check out our main virtual open house webpage, which does have links to all the different sessions that are going on today. So program specific. Throughout the day, we do have a general admissions live chat that is going on, that is moderated, and you can ask questions there as well. So if we don't have the opportunity to get to your questions today, we will absolutely do that. As we go through you have the opportunity to go there and check those sessions out and ask questions in the general admissions. And so we are speaking to undergraduate admissions today. So we will focus on those programs. If you have graduate studies programs, master's programs, please reach out to the graduate studies department, graduate@trentu.ca. But without further ado, I am going to go ahead and set up a presenter view here. So we will make sure that my screen is shared as I do that. And if you do have any questions as we go, like I said, please put them in the chat, and we'll let you guys see that. So hopefully everyone is able, as I transition, is able to see the window here for our admissions chat, and you should see just the admissions piece there. Can we see that okay? So
for me, it just says you're just sharing the screen. I can't see anything other than that.
Oh, interesting. Apologies, everyone. Apologies as I work through this, because I clicked on the share screen and now it says it is paused for me. Can you see that now, Megan? All right, sorry about the delay there. A couple of quick technical difficulties as we work through. But again, so we're here to chat about all things admissions, primarily undergraduate admissions and the timeline. So we'll get started as we go through here. So we do want everyone to know that there are a few different ways to apply to Trent, and that applications for most programs do remain open for the summer and September 2022 term starts. So if you are applying to Trent, the most popular method of applying is through the Ontario University Application Centre, UAC. So that's primarily for our 101 and many of our 105 applicants. You can see the link there. Secondary student applicants, you're going to be applying using the 101 application form, and that's for those students who are applying from Ontario secondary schools. If you are basically applying from any other situation, so another province or territory in Canada or an international applicant, you're going to be looking at our 105 application form. So again, the OUAC website is where most of our information will be available. We do have other application forms as well, though. We do have a direct application for Trent University, and this has reduced fees for applicants. This is for those who are looking to only apply to Trent University, though. So we are only looking to a program, the program at Trent that you want to come to, and you're applying directly to that. And that's available on our trentu.ca/apply. You'll be able to navigate whether you're a domestic or international student, whether you meet the criteria for mature application or a transfer student. All of that information is available there. So encourage you to visit that site and check out the options. Or like I said, Ontario University Application Centre is a great tool as well. So Canadian high school self-reported grades, if you are a 101 applicant, this is something you may want to use if you perhaps, at this juncture, you likely have your first semester grades, or if you have done quadmesters for the first half of this year, you may have those or other setups. But self-reported grades give the opportunity, as you are in progress, to send in some of your grades for your application. So if you know you've got a few assignments done or quizzes or tests done and you have those information, this can act as an unofficial transcript just to let us know what your current standing is academically. And so this is when you do have your grade 12s coming in. So we will ultimately require your final official grades directly from your high school, and those will come generally in late June or early July. But this gives you an opportunity to communicate your sort of in progress status prior to waiting for that moment. Another thing that is on there is the intention to upgrade. So if you have a prerequisite course that is part of the application requirements or admission requirements for any program, or you are retaking or taking new courses to up your average, you can submit an intention to upgrade form, which will notify us that we effectively can expect more grades to come in. So what you have sent us in is not all that will be coming, there will be more. I touched on it very briefly before, but we also do have our mature supplemental application. So there are a few criteria to meet that mature supplemental application. It's not just based on age. However, you do need to be a minimum of 21 years of age or older. You have to have been out of full-time studies for a minimum of 2 years. So be that high school, secondary, or post-secondary. And the third and one of the more important or equally important criteria is that you must not have met any other minimum admission requirements. So we have people who apply who attended college or university, 5, 10, 20, I've seen even as much as 40 years ago, and they're looking to come back. We may still be able to use those previous studies as your basis of admission. So generally what we will do is suggest that people apply as they normally would, and we will communicate with you if we feel that the mature supplemental application is the route for you. So you don't necessarily need to know that all right off the bat, but minimum 21, 2 years minimum out of full-time studies, and cannot be admitted under any other circumstances. That's the criteria for the mature supplemental application. So a little bit about our timelines and where we're at right now. Right now, for the month of March, which we're just early into, I can't believe it already, but the temperatures are rising here in Peterborough. I think we're expecting 12 degrees Celsius tomorrow. So snow is going to start melting. For those international students or applicants who may not have experienced snow, yes, we do still have about 3 feet of snow outside. And in about a month's time, that will all be gone, but it looks like it's starting tomorrow, the warmer weather. But we are currently beginning to send out offers for the computer sciences co-op program. So those who had applicant essays submitted, you likely will see offers and possibly alternate offers, which we'll touch on in a little bit, coming out this month. As we head into May, we are actually hoping to receive ministry approval for a couple of new programs that we have. We have our health and human behavior, as well as our climate change science and policy. So anyone who has applied or is considering applying to those programs, basically we are waiting. Our Senate at the university has approved those programs, and we're waiting on a pretty standard cycle from the ministry to actually approve those as well. The ministry generally does a cycle of approvals in May, so we're anticipating those will come through then. And basically what we'll do is, we have never seen it go to ministry and not have a program approved, but if for any reason there are delays, or for the off chance that we have our first program that isn't, in May, we will send out a new alternate offer to all applicants to those programs, just to make sure you have some sort of offer in place. And then if we have to do approvals later on, we will give you an approval to another, that original program that you applied to, as well as the alternate that you may have received at that time. But hopefully by May, we'll have that information to you and be able to give offers out to that. Yeah, be able to move forward with some of those new programs that we're always very excited to put into our repertoire here at Trent. As we get to late May, so later in the spring, towards the end of the spring, we do send admissions for decisions to all 101 applicants that come through. So those who are currently in Ontario secondary school students. If you are below our admission requirements, we may defer until July when you have your final grades from high school. But we will start to go out late May and into early June with those first offers to 101 applicants. And that may include a deferral, or it may include looking at alternate pathways as well, which we'll touch on. And then finally, as we get into mid to late July, that's when for Ontario secondary school applicants, our 101s, and even for many of our 105s who are secondary students, you know, the timelines are fairly similar for Ontario, other provinces, and territories, and even many of our international high school applicants. So we will be looking at mid-July to get final grades in. Admission condition checks will happen, and we will have the opportunity. This is one of those big moments where we see students submitting those intention to upgrade forms. So anyone planning on doing summer school, or you know, some of the TVO or ILC programming where you're doing virtual school, you'll start to see a lot of people put those in. So yeah, that's just some rough timelines of what we are currently looking forward to over the coming months here in our admissions department. So our current high school format, we do want to make sure that people know as restrictions start to get lifted, and different provinces, territories, and countries have different sort of rollouts of how this is happening. But we want to reiterate that the changes in course structure that some of you may have experienced in, you know, the last months and couple of years, which is kind of crazy to say, due to COVID, we will not have allow that to negatively impact your admission. So for instance, here in Ontario, we saw quadmesters become fairly normal for a lot of high school structures. So students were not seeing grades for courses. In many cases, they wouldn't even be starting some until weeks from now. So we will work with what you have. Again, that's why we have forms like our self-reported grades for Canadian students, where you can share with us what you do have. You can share what you intend to take over the course of the next number of months, and we can explore options for admitting you conditionally based on what you've got completed or what you have in progress now. So again, you will not be negatively impacted by course structure changes that were imposed upon you. We do look at deferred admission decisions as well. So we do accept grades submitted by high schools, and we will assess on an ongoing basis as those grades are received. Admissions decisions can be deferred until more grades are received. So you may receive what we call a defer status, and it just says you'll receive communication saying, as we receive more information and more grades, we will continue to assess your application. So just because you don't receive a decision right now, or within a week or two of applying, or within those deadlines or timelines that I had outlined on a previous slide, it doesn't mean you won't receive a decision as we progress through. So feel free to ask questions. You can contact us by phone or emailing admissions@trentu.ca. But don't be alarmed if you receive a communication just stating that we will be assessing as more grades come in from your high school or other institution. And finally, conditional offers. The vast majority of offers that go out, and certainly at this time of year, will be conditional offers. What this generally means is that we are waiting for final grades from your current studies and the final official transcript to be sent in. Don't hesitate. It doesn't mean we're going to revoke it from you in a week or anything like that. It's just a matter of us needing those final official transcripts, and those conditions will be communicated to you through your offer of admission. So if you're an international student, that will be through your emails and communicated through the MyTrent portal. And as domestic students, you will receive an initial hard copy offer package, as well as communication through your MyTrent portal. So how will you know that you've been accepted? That is a great question that we receive. People apply and they wonder, well, what's next? How will I find out? Well, there's a couple of ways. First of all, if you've applied through UAC, through OUAC, you can check your UAC portal and your login there. You can check your MyTrent portal, which as you apply and as you receive offers, you'll receive updates on how you can activate that MyTrent portal, as well as your Trent U email address if you've received an offer and accepted it. Or you can use your email account, check where you originally applied to us, the email that we would have received there. We will communicate through that until you have your Trent U account activated, your email address activated once your session is actually live. So again, every time we receive updated documents, we will continue to assess and reassess. If you've upped your marks, if marks have changed, hopefully they're heading in the positive direction. But even if they've taken a step back, we will continue to assess and reassess and re-communicate with you where things stand and what the status of your application and hopefully offer of admissions do look like. Decisions can be deferred right up until July 2022. And for those who are 105 applicants, they can even be beyond, because again, we understand that different semesters have different timelines and different coursework is completed at different times. So we will continue even right up until the start of your semester, be reevaluating. And if documents come in after the start, because there are delays, we'll assess as we go, but make sure you're communicating with us as you know those things. And again, check your OUAC, check your MyTrent account, and check the original email address and inbox that you applied to us with for updates. So what if you've applied to something? We touched on conditional offers and what those look like, and like we said, those are going to be the vast majority of offers, unless you've completed studies previously and just sort of been taking, whether it's a gap year or semester or just some time to work, whatever it may be. You likely will have received and will receive a conditional offer of admissions. And that's based on you being in progress and just needing that final information, or if you indicated that you are upgrading and going to be registering for summer school or something along those lines. The vast majority of offers this time of year are going to be conditional offers. What we do have is, if you've applied to a program, and this is generally for heightened programs, so some of our capped competitive programs, we do have, for any application that comes in, we do have an alternate offer pathway that does exist. So if you've applied, say, to our BBA program, but it turns out that you don't have the 4U math equivalent and you don't intend to do that, we have an arts and business alternate pathway. And what these alternate pathways are programs that we can offer that are in line with the originally applied to program. So based on what you have expressed as a program or an area of interest, we will find a like program that allows you to come to Trent, experience possibly even a better pathway, more suitable to your needs, your experiences, and your current education. The last thing we want to do is set someone up for a program that they don't have the foundations and the foundational knowledge to actually be able to succeed in, or they're going to find themselves set behind a little bit too much. So we'll set you up with an alternate offer that really is in line with your sort of educational background, your experiences, but still in line with what your interests expressed are. So we do always try to find a program that is best suited to our applicants if available. If you have applied to one of our, not general degree in terms of a non-honors program, but one of the programs that is not capped or competitive, and you just don't meet those minimum requirements for entry, being a 70% for secondary school students that are domestic, or 65 for transfer students. And now if you are an international applicant, there are a whole a different scope of curriculums out there in the world, and details on our admission requirements can be found on both our domestic and international sites. But if you just don't meet those minimum requirements, we do have a couple of programs and pathways that do exist. We have our degree progression pathway, which sees students be able to complete up to 3 credits before declaring a marriage and a major, and then they can actually progress to full degree studies. Or we do have, like, our Fleming and Durham General Arts and Sciences University Transfer Program. So Fleming College and Durham College, which Fleming being here in Peterborough, Durham in Oshawa, we do have partnerships with them where students will spend 1 year at the college, their initial year, completing programs that have been designed in partnership with our programs, our humanities and arts programs here at Trent and sciences. And you will actually earn a full 5 transfer credits if you meet the minimum requirements and progress straight into a second year program back here at Trent at either our Peterborough or our Durham campuses. So great opportunities, even if you don't initially meet the minimum requirements for admissions to a degree program. We have pathways that exist for you to be able to stay engaged and continue on studying here at Trent. How will I know if I've been accepted? So there are a couple of ways to find out. Again, we've talked about the opportunities to check your UAC site and continue on from there. So if you're transferring from college or university, you're going to be assessed at the time of admission, and we encourage you, so prerequisite courses can be met through either the high school or the post-secondary level. You will be assessed for transfer credits at the time of application. If you are a domestic applicant, international students, that will occur after you've accepted your offer. And you can check all of this information, the status of these transfer credits, through your transfer credit icon on your MyTrent portal. If you're wanting to know ahead of time before that assessment occurs, we do have a transfer credit database that does exist primarily for Ontario and to a slightly larger extent, Canadian institutions, but you can see what those equivalents do exist. And so you can check trentu.ca/transfer for any upcoming transfer events. We did just have one a couple of weeks ago, but as we head into the spring, you'll be able to find information there as well on our transfer credit policy and that database I alluded to. So if you're coming from a college or university, we'll do our best to get you upwards of 10 transfer credits, so 2 full years of studies towards an undergraduate degree if you're doing your honors, and we will assess that as part of the admissions process. So a little bonus today, if you've received an offer and you already know how you want to accept, or you're ready to accept that offer of admissions, you can actually go into our admissions chat that's going on throughout the day, and they have breakout rooms there where they can actually accept your offer, process that acceptance of your offer on the spot. And we can actually communicate. So whether you've done that through OUAC or you've done it through a direct application, you can accept your offer today. And we're actually offering a little added bonus of the iconic Trent University scarves that people will be wearing around Ontario and around Peterborough for sure. And even, we've seen snaps on social for people wearing their swag worldwide even. So if you accept today during our open house hours, you will receive in the mail a scarf from Trent University. So a little bit of swag to start repping Trent right off the bat that will be sent out to you. So a little added incentive to accept your offer today. And again, we do encourage you to visit our admissions general chat for that, which is ongoing throughout the day. After that, you will receive communications, but we do have our trentu.ca/Trent-U-bound, sorry. That's going to be a next step that you can visit for what some of the services and that you can access as an incoming student. You can visit trentu.ca/orientation for details on our upcoming orientation events that will happen throughout the summer and leading into the new academic year. And certainly we recommend any applicants who accept an offer to consider our academic advising at trentu.ca/advising. As you get your MyTrent portal set up and start looking towards registration, which for the fall semester opens up in June and has just opened up for the summer session, but recommend you set up your time with the academic advisors just to really ensure that you've got yourself set up on the best pathway to move forward and setting yourself up for a pathway to success here at Trent University. So a lot of information about 101, 105. International students are going to have very specific, cases and scenarios and curriculums that they're working to. We do have people applying from all areas of the world, and we encourage people to come here and experience Trent at both of our campuses. As we have mentioned throughout, we do have our live chat going on for admissions, general questions, and breakout rooms within that chat. If you have specific questions, there's sessions for all services and programs going on throughout the day today. So we encourage you to check out and revisit that main landing page for the virtual open house on our website. And check out when those specific programs are coming through. But at this juncture, I'm sure there have been lots of things coming through, but if there are questions, I'm happy to spend the next sort of 5 minutes or so answering some quick questions here. And then again, would encourage you to check out our our two campuses and our general admissions chat when you do have the opportunity to do so. So Megan, do we have any questions that have come through that maybe I can attend to? I haven't been keeping my eye on the chat quite as actively, but I do
Yeah,
see
we
a
just
lot
had
of chat.
just one came through, and the student is talking about they're still deciding, but once they're ready to accept their offer, do they do it through OUAC or through their Trent or both? And what's the best way to do that?
Fantastic question.
Eliza actually just answered it. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly it. The rule of thumb is if you've used OUAC for your application, continue to use OUAC to accept and submit documents. If you've used a direct application, you can email admissions at trentu.ca. And if there's any questions or uncertainties along the way, you can email admissions at trentu.ca for clarity and clarification of the status of your application. So yeah, great question though, and you're not the only one to ask those questions. So I do see here a question from Tracy about Quebec SAGEP applicants. So for SAGEP, depending on whether you're doing a year 1 or year 2 of SAGEP, we will look at the top 10 programs or top, is it 10 or 12, sorry, academic programs to determine your admissions average and whether you meet the criteria for us. We will use those, and we will use those to explore whether we do have transfer credits available for year 2 applicants as well. So that's what we're looking at from our UAC applicants, and we know that, or sorry, not UAC, for SAGEP applicants, sorry about that. And we know that SAGEP's very good about sending updated grades as they come through and as they're available. But that's the criteria we're looking for from our SAGEP applicants. And so I see once we pay the tuition fee, do we get any letter of intent from the university? So Arpan, are you looking for the letter of admissions and whether you'll receive that? Basically, if that's what you're looking for, the letter of admissions that we'll send through, depending on if you're domestic or international. If you're a domestic student, we will only send the first initial letter of admissions, and that will include any conditions that do exist there. From there, all updates will be done via the MyTrent portal. We do send updated information when all conditions have been met to our international applicants, because there is some criteria that needs to be met for visa applications and permits. And if you do have questions specific to any visas or permits, I encourage you to reach out to our international admissions team or international department, because they do actually have certified agent on staff who can answer questions about what that process looks like. But once you pay the tuition fee, to my knowledge, that doesn't impact any letter of admissions. Our admissions department is separate from the student accounts. So it shouldn't have any impact from that perspective as far as I know. And Perry Carrero, I do see you've just applied last night. Right now, we are in a very busy time. The first sort of 3 months of the calendar year, January, February, and March, are very busy as the holiday break for many institutions lead to a lot of people in early January and February making decisions and applying. And certainly as high school students receive their first semester or their report cards in late January and early February, that results in a big influx. So we're looking at about 5 to 10 business days for assessment of documents that come through. So 1 to 2 weeks, we will be able to communicate. And if we have everything we need, that could include an offer of admissions coming through within that. So we certainly can, like I said, within 1 to 2 weeks. And as things slow down a little bit in terms of the cycle, we will look to have that speed up a little bit more and that turnaround time be expedited a bit. As for the biomedical sciences, it is actually currently on hold. So we are not admitting further at this juncture until we receive enough responses based on the offers that have gone out. So it is not closed entirely, but it is on hold, and it is possible that that it will reach its maximum capacity, but we will still accept that and consider it. And if it is not available, we will send, as I've mentioned earlier in the presentation, we will send an alternate offer if that's the best situation. So Lauren, I think that I would recommend your question about the verification of enrollment. If it is for the fall semester does not activate until June. So in late May, you'll start seeing access to your My Trent email and some other pieces as that comes in. If you do have specific questions, I would encourage you to check out our general admissions chat or email admissions@trentu.ca though, so we can look into your specific situation in a little bit more detail. But again, if you're looking at the fall, and for anyone who is applying to the fall, activation of that semester does not occur until late May or early June. So don't worry too much at this juncture. I'm working through, I see a lot of stuff coming into the chat now. So, and sorry if I'm answering questions that get answered later on or have already been answered. I see Eliza's answering a lot of questions that I may have touched on. Tracy, specifically your CEGEP R-score question. Megan, is there anything that you've noticed that I have not answered yet in the chat? I just want to make sure I'm not duplicating efforts here.
I think you're getting most of them. I think you're good. I just gotta double check.
Okay, and thank you to Eliza, who is in the background answering furiously. Eliza, not sure if I'm supposed to out you right now, but Eliza is our director of recruitment and admissions. So you've got as knowledgeable of a person responding to you right now as you could find in terms of our admissions processes and information. But that's fantastic. So it looks like we've come to the end right now of the questions, and again want to thank everyone for stopping by and for asking your questions and listening to the information. We encourage you to check out all the other sessions and specifically drop into, as Eliza has just linked there, the admissions live chat for undergraduate questions. And wish you all the best and look forward to seeing many of you hopefully at Trent University in the coming semesters and years. And have a wonderful Saturday for those of you who are with us, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks so much.